Alright, so a lot of you guys have been asking about the Turf Tiger because you know me and I don't ever leave anything alone. So, I'll update you. So, I replaced these two caps because they were all smashed in and they need to be replaced. They weren't holding grease, they were coming apart, plus they had holes drilled in the top of them for grease fittings, I'm guessing. So, but you don't need to have one there because you have the fitting right there on both of them. So, I replaced those. Then I replaced the seat cushion and backrest. It's $259 for a new seat, but it was $89 to replace both of those, and it's twice as thick as the original one, so a lot more comfortable there. Then this here, if you guys remember, this moved up and down like crazy, so I replaced the bearings in the mount there, if you can see it, and then that post stud right there that bolts to the deck, that has the stud that comes up that this sits on, I replaced that because it was all egg-shelled and worn down. This pulley here is the one I mentioned in the last video I replaced. This is one of the ones I rebuilt. If you guys notice, look on your mowers, these are all rivets through there. I just drill out the rivets, I replaced the bearing, and I put 1/4-inch bolts through there with lock nuts on the other side. They work great. Last night I replaced all 3 spindles. Put all new spindles on it. Let's see here, what else have I done? Oh, okay. These shock compressors on the side, I replaced those. I mentioned that in the past video. The steering was real sloppy and real loose, and now it's a lot tighter. Everything's stiffer on it. The fuel cap had just a regular cap on it. I replaced it with the one that's supposed to be there that actually has the gas gauge right on it. I replaced the fuel filter. I changed the oil and put fresh oil in it. I put new spark plugs in it. The muffler is new. The valves were redone on it. What else have I done here? Oh, I replaced the main deck belt. This is all, these Turf Tigers are shaft drive from the back up to the front, but they have a deck belt. So I replaced it with a heavy duty Kevlar belt. Let's pop this off here. I replaced both of these 2 belts. You have the one rear belt and then the front clutch belt. I replaced both of those. So those are both new. What else have I done on this thing? Oh, I put a new PTO switch on it. I put a new throttle cable on it because that busted on me. The throttle cable and choke cable are both the same part number, and I ordered another one. The choke is not broke, but I ordered another one just in case, so I have it. And I think that is all that I've done. Oh, I re-leveled the whole deck because it was way out of whack. So the last thing I have to do is these tires. I do not like these tires. They're the right size, but I don't believe they are the right tires for this mower. They have slits in them. I don't know, I'm in the kind of cast in the shadow. They have slits in them all over. They do hold air, but they have all those cracks in them. And the tires that are supposed to be on this are supposed to be a little bit wider. I think it's just the style of tire. But anyway, I ordered 2 new tires for the rear. They're supposed to be here today. So those will go on it. And I believe that's about it. But it's running great, it's cutting great, and everything seems to be in order with it. So today I'm going to be running that, and I have the walker right there. So today I'll be running the walker and the Turf Tiger, and that's what I'm taking for the day. But anyway, a lot of people have been asking, so that's the update on the Turf Tiger. And a lot of people have also asked, what do I prefer, the Turf Tiger or the new Tiger Cat, which is sitting right there. All depends. If I have, obviously I have the bagging system for the Tiger Cat, so if I gotta do any heavy bagging and I'm not using the walker, then I'll use the Tiger Cat for that. Everyday average size yards, the Tiger Cat I use because it has a 52 deck. But for all my larger properties, I prefer the Turf Tiger because it has a 61-inch deck, and I don't know, works all around. So I guess I really don't have a preference. It just depends on the day. But I like them both. Okay, as promised, here is the continuation of, well, it's going to be what you just saw, because I'll put the first part up and then link this part to it. This is a continuation of the Turf Tiger. Just a quick summary for those of you that don't know, but I believe everybody pretty much does. This is the one I bought off my buddy that he bought over the winter because he wanted a Turf Tiger and then decided he didn't want it, and he bought a brand new ZK right stander. So I bought it off him. Since then, everything I've done to it, we'll go through real quick. I put new caps on the ends. It needed those. I put 3 new belts on it. It had the phone's ringing. 3 new belts on it. It has the main deck belt, and then in the back it has 2 belts and then drive shaft that comes forward. I did all those belts. I changed all 3 spindles. I changed that stud mount right there. You know what? I think I just showed all this in the first part of the video. I'm gonna have to go back and watch this. But anyway, so you're gonna see this twice, I guess. And I changed that pulley with the bearings and the bearings down in that stud mount. I changed that pulley. I have 3 new super high lift blades on here instead of the low lifts that were on there. I was looking for high lifts and I found the super high lifts, so I put those on. That right there. 2 brand new tires on the back, new fuel gauge over there, new seat, new PTO switch, new choke cable, new throttle cable. And the valves were all redone on it, and a new muffler put on. That was done just before I got it. There's probably a few other little things, but so anyway, I kept getting blowout coming out of the front of the deck like crazy, and it was driving me crazy. And I know the only 2 things that'll usually cause that is 1, if your deck is not pitched correctly, or 2, if you don't have the proper blade tip speed, which means it's your engine's not running at the RPMs that it should be, or something is hampering how fast the blades are spinning. That is 9 times out of 10 the only 2 things that will cause your deck blowout like that, especially running super high lifts, which create that massive amounts of vacuum. It should just be throwing it right out the sides. So I also noticed that cutting grass that's dry from 7 inches down to like 3 inches, it kept bogging a lot. That should not happen. My Tiger Cat that has a smaller engine on it, with the 52-inch deck, I can cut foot-tall grass down to 4 inches that's wet, and it throws it right out the side and never bogs, never hesitates, never misses a beat. This thing should more than take down 7 inch to down to 3 inches dry grass without missing a beat, but it was bogging a lot. So I dropped it off to my buddy's shop. I picked it up this morning before church. And turns out, he said, when was the last time you checked the oil? I said, I just changed it last week. I put almost 2 quarts in it, just shy of 2 quarts, which is what it calls for with an oil change with a filter. I said, and I checked it like the next day, and it was fine. I know I should check it every day, but I don't. I just get too busy and I forget. He said it wasn't even reading on the dipstick. So he did a compression test at 120 pounds on one side, but like 35 on the other side. So he started messing around with stuff over there. I had already done brand new spark plugs on it, and he thought maybe it wasn't, the wire wasn't clipped on the plug good enough and the cylinder wasn't firing on that side. Well, he was right. It wasn't firing on that side, but turns out inside the spark plug wire, inside like the insulator, the metal wire that runs through there was broke right inside the wire, and it was like hit and miss. So that cylinder was just flooding with oil, which is why it smoked once in a while, and if I shut it off any lower than full throttle, it backfire like crazy and blow smoke. And also explains why it was bogging down. So that's the deal. That's the deal. I still total with what I paid for this and what I have into it. I paid my buddy $1,500. I think I have almost, I don't know, around 1,000, maybe a little more into it with everything I've put into it. But you know, it's still, it's a machine that only has 1,127 hours on it. I don't know if you can see that, and about 40 of them hours I put on it. So Anyway, so I'm going to cut with it now. We're going to see what it does, see how it's acting. Okay, so my opinions. It still has deck blowout in the front. It is definitely pulling good vacuum. When the deck is down and I'm just sitting still, it'll take grass, and 10 feet out away from the deck, that grass is laid over flat, like hard. It's just not lightly blown over, it is hard. So those super high lifts are definitely pushing volume out the side. I just mowed that grass. It wasn't that bad. It was maybe 5 inches tall down to 3 inches, and I didn't have to double cut. I only went over it twice because I didn't like the height it was at. I didn't like the way it looked. That's my neighbor's yard. She likes it nice and short, so that's why I dropped the deck down and went over it again to get a little shorter. But I don't know. It's just, man, it's got a carb issue, I'll tell you that, because it's still popping every once in a while. It's not bogging down anymore, really. It seemed like it was a little bit at first, but it's not really bogging down much at all. But it definitely, at low idle, when you sit there, it pops. So I would definitely say there's a carb issue with it, which wouldn't surprise me a bit. But I don't know. I mean, it's in great shape, and it cuts phenomenal. It leaves a great cut, nice even. It's so fast, and I can fly with it, and it still leaves a great cut. So I don't know, though. Be honest with you, I don't think I want it. I think I'm gonna sell it. I haven't had that long, as you guys know, and I'm bored with it already. It's just, you know, it was a project mower. I really didn't need it, and it was fun, and I put a lot of work and a lot of money into it, but whatever. I don't care about that. Give me something to do. Maybe I'll sell it and buy something else. I don't know. I'd really like to have a rear discharge walker with a 52-inch deck. You know what I'm talking about, Brian. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think maybe I'll snap some pictures of it and put it on Craigslist and just see what people offer me. Never know. Thanks for watching.